Hi friends, my name is Courtney and welcome to my channel. This is my first video on this channel. I am a 48-year-old stay-at-home mom and housewife, and on this channel I am kind of documenting me writing my first book and really trying to write the second half of my life. I have always only been a wife and a mom, and I'm trying to figure out like what comes next. So I thought that it was only fitting that my very first video on this channel is the Authortube Newbie Tag. So I believe this video or tag was created by Jenna Streety. I found it like through another channel, and I know there are several versions. I'm not exactly sure of the sort of version that I have the questions to, but I thought that we would give it a go as kind of an introduction to me and what I'm doing here. So question number one, what is your book's pitch? And also, if you see me looking down, I have the questions written down in my journal. So I am currently working on a sexy contemporary romance featuring a couple who had sort of a thing in high school that never really developed the way either of them wanted it to. 30 years later, they are both back in their hometown and kind of run into each other, and that reignites the spark that they had in high school. And it's really about asking ourselves, you know, do you really get a second chance, or can you really have a second chance with your first love? Question number two, if you were a book, how would you pitch yourself? I would say I am women's fiction about a woman trying to figure out how to age gracefully and what comes next. And yeah, there's probably some tears, a little bit of humor, and a lot of cuss words. Question number three, what do you usually write? So I write romance. I write contemporary romance. I write contemporary romance for old people like me. Question number four, what is something you'll never write? I'm not one to, you know, ever say never, but I don't think that I would ever attempt to write poetry. It's just not really like my thing, and I think that writing poetry requires like a different kind of skill set than I probably have. So, and I don't think that I would ever write anything that's like in the genre of horror. While I like thrillers and mysteries and suspense, I'm not really a fan of horror. Like, I don't read scary books. I don't watch scary movies or scary TV shows, so it's just not my thing. Question number five, what is your goal for starting Authortube? So I think ultimately my goal is to have a record of my journey into publishing and into becoming a published author, especially with my first book, kind of taking that from, you know, the idea to the finished product out there in the world for people to read. Question number six, what made you start writing? I think like most writers, I read a lot as a kid. I didn't grow up as an only child, but by the time I was born, my siblings were adults. So, and my parents were older when they had me. My dad had his own business, and my mom was helping him run that. And at the time that I was born, it was sort of in the like midst of them becoming very successful in their business. And so I spent a lot of time by myself and having to figure out how to entertain myself, and I did that a lot with books. I was also fairly shy as a child, kind of introverted, and I think I found, friends in books. And from there I started, I can remember like the summer that I read Harriet the Spy and like thinking it was the coolest book ever. And so I wrote out these little like missions for myself, and I had a little notebook where I recorded happenings of the neighborhood, and I would kind of go around on my bike and pretend that I was a spy. And then there was one summer that I was really into plays for some reason, so I wrote these little plays for me to act out for my parents, and I would act out like all the parts. And then kind of into adulthood, like I've always journaled, and I would say I'm more of like a record keeper, so I always wanted some kind of written journal of what I was going through, kind of raising my kids and that sort of thing. I don't really think that I ever thought like I should be a writer. Well, I mean, I did in kind of high school. I remember thinking like, oh, I would want to like go to college and write a book someday and all of that, and that didn't happen. And so I don't think I ever thought much more about sort of becoming a writer in my adulthood, like until now. And then I think, I've had, like, I tried to participate in NaNoWriMo over the years and sort of did it with no real success until last year. And I think I did end up finishing a book, and I think that was like the first time where I think when you see success with something, whatever your definition of success is when kind of you have that light bulb moment, like, oh, maybe this is like a thing that I could kind of do. So here we are. Question number 7, what is your publishing path? I think, like I said, when I was younger, I had dreams of kind of writing a book and being published and like going on talk shows. That was like the thing kind of when I was, in my late teens, early 20s. But as of now, I am pursuing self-publishing, becoming an indie author, and, publishing my own books myself. I don't know in the traditionally published world where I would fall, or like if the stories that I'm interested in telling are, if there is a market, a broader market, and really traditional publishing is as much about the money side as it is sort of about the art. In fact, I think some would argue that it's much more about the money side than it is about the art of it. So yeah, I don't know if I write stories that publishers would consider, there's a huge market for, but I still want to write them and kind of get them out in the world. So let's see. Question number 8. What content do you bring to the Authortube table? Well, I don't really know. I mean, I have no real have no real, like, I don't have any tips, or I dropped out of college to get married and have babies. So I don't have a degree. I don't have any kind of useful tips. I have never worked in publishing or anything like that. But I think that I do offer kind of a unique perspective in that I am an older author trying to publish my first book. I write contemporary romance with characters who are older and have, some baggage from life that they are bringing into these relationships. And at least I have not seen that a lot on Authortube, no matter what kind of keywords I type into the search bar. I think, I'm old enough to know that I'm not that special. So if it's something that I'm looking for, there's probably someone else out there looking for it too. So that is, a newbie author who is trying to do this, later in life. And I think that's an interesting perspective and an interesting journey. And I think that's really all that I have to offer right now. Question number 9, what is your biggest writing struggle? I think that my biggest struggle in writing is my lack of confidence, feeling that do I really have anything kind of different to offer? And I think struggle with the guilt of kind of taking time to myself to write. I have been raising kids and taking care of my family, and that has been my priority for all of my adult life. And so part of me feels really bad when I'm spending time doing something that isn't to the benefit of my family. And so, I think that there are a lot of parents, a lot of women, a lot of moms who kind of struggle with doing things for themselves, especially when it's something that I don't even know, like, if I'm actually good at it. I think that's my other thing. What is your best writing skill? Ooh, what is my best writing skill? That's a good question. I think my best writing skill is the fact that I am stubborn, and that I will keep working on something until I can get it the way that it delivers kind of what I want it to. It gives what I need it to give, as the kids say. Do the kids say that? I don't know. Question number 11 was not a question for newbies. I didn't write it down, so I'm skipping it. Question number 12 is, if you're new to Authortube, what is your biggest Authortube question? I think my biggest question for kind of established Authortubers would be, how do you stay inspired both to continue writing and also to continue creating content? I think, especially as someone who struggles a bit with some mental health issues, that those two things are things that I worry about, and things that I'm sort of trying to figure out. Question number 13, and I think this is the last question. Are you looking for any new channels to follow, beta readers, critique partners, or any other type of writer buddies? If so, tell us what you're looking for and connect in the comments. And the answer is yes, all of the above. I'm looking for all of the things. I am, I don't really have a in-person community where I live. So I think that it would be nice to kind of connect with some other author tubers, particularly like if you're over 30 or a romance writer. I think a lot of the channels that I follow that I love, I mean, I really have found some great channels to watch and subscribe to on Authortube, but most of them I think are like either YA writers or fantasy writers or YA fantasy writers, and I think that their process might be a little bit different from someone who is writing contemporary romance. I am looking for beta readers and critique partners, so yes, if you're interested, then let me know, drop me a comment, or I think like my email is, I will have it also listed below if you want to send me an email. So yeah, that is my very first and very clunky video for Authortube. If you have made it this far, thank you so much for watching. If you want to give this video a thumbs up and click subscribe, I think that would be super awesome of you, and I would love to chat in the comments, so leave me a comment, and I will see you guys in my next video. So yeah, thanks for watching.